Hey, how's it going? For the last few years I've been toying with the idea of building myself a shunting layout to play with at home, and I've decided if I don't do it now I'll never get around to doing it. So I decided to take the plunge and jump into it. Now I've got myself a track plan and I've got myself a baseboard built ready for it, so we're going to take a look at the track plan first of all, then we'll have a look at the baseboard and the build process for that. So let's get started with the track plan. So the plan itself is designed around the classic inglenook shunting puzzle, when you've got a long head shunt at the front and 3 sidings coming off there, getting smaller as you progress. With an inglenook, obviously you'd build a train of 5 wagons with a loco. Here we've got obviously a spur coming off the other end there. These are all built with electro-frog points, obviously to aid with power transmission across the layout. Now, as with all good shunting puzzles, it's designed primarily with an 040 or an 060 shunter in mind. Something like a Class 8 diesel or an old faithful Smoky Joe, as I'm sure many of us have come across in the past. Looking at the sidings, there is space for something larger on there if you're very careful with it, so there is scope for that at some point. Obviously I've left myself the option to extend, which is something maybe one day I'll do in the future. So I took a paper printout of the layout down to my local railway shop to ask a very helpful gentleman in there if there's any glaring issues that I've overlooked in my inexperience, and he said no, all looks okay. He gave me some advice on where to put power points from a drop of wire, along with points to isolate with isolating fish blades on some of the backs of the points there, the turnouts, which is very much appreciated. So if you do have a local model shop, obviously do go in and speak to them there. There is a slight difference between the paper track plan and the one that you see in there on screen. That's because I've changed from the set track for the straights to flexi track, just reduce the number of drop wires that I'd have to install on the layout. Now let's take a quick look at the baseboard and the build process there. It's 163 centimeters by 60 wide, or 5'4" by 2 foot in old money, made of 2 bits of wood stuck together with framing at the back. I decided 4 foot wasn't quite enough for what I wanted to do. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it came out. Let's have a look at how the build went. Now, the more experienced builders amongst yourself may well have spotted a slight issue here. I won't spoil it for those who haven't until we get to the end. Obviously leave a comment if you've worked out what that issue may well be. Now, starting as I intend to go on, try and get this board as square as possible here. Obviously working on a kitchen floor with hand tools isn't an ideal way to approach this, but nonetheless we've made a good attempt of it, I think. Next step was to secure each side. This should help keep the build nice and square, or as square as possible. Following this, next step is to add the MDF onto the rest of the runners there to give us the total length of the 2 boards combined. Now that's left us with a little bit of a tail on the end of the 2 sides. That's a quick fix with a saw and a hand from the good lady of the house. While the saw's running, we're going to cut the lengths of wood to the length sections. The issue I had with the build is coming up there. Obviously I've just fitted them in for size here. Next step is to screw them in, and there it is, flat and stable, ready for laying tracks on. Next step obviously is to get a space cleared and do some framework to rest this board on in its permanent home. As you can see, the issue there being I ran out of length of wood for the full width. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again sometime soon.